Welcome back to the Colossal Color Showdown. In this episode, we're going to be taking a look at 11 different brands of Pyrrole Red. And this is one of those episodes in which we break the rules of the series a little bit, because normally we pick colors that have the same name. However, Pyrrole Red goes by lots of different names. And so if we just stick to Pyrrole Red, then we're only going to have less than half of these brands. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to stick to colors that are PR254, which is your standard Pyrrole Red. So all the brands here we have are PR254 rather than the name Pyrrole Red. They mean Pyrrole Red when they mean things like Sennelier Red, Winsor Red, that kind of things. Also, you might notice that the video seems a little bit different. I am finally set up in my new filming desk, so we're working things out as we go along. So if this doesn't look quite the same as all the others, please don't worry. Hopefully, I'm also hoping that the sound quality is better because now I have a proper microphone set up. But we will see how we go, and thank you for your patience as I figure these things out. Anyway, let's talk about the colors, and the colors are very, very exciting. Pyrrole Reds are these bright, gorgeous, intense red. They're very passionate kind of red, and whether it's a cool red or warmer, it really kind of depends on how you perceive the color. Also depends on what kind of color you have next to, but I would say it's a little bit on the cooler red but it's very close to the middle red. For Pyrrole Reds, we don't actually have an Old Holland one. They don't have a PR254, so it will just be the 11 brands in this episode. I hope how bright this is. The colors are coming across on the camera. If not, I'm just gonna cry once I've filmed this and look back on it. But they're all very, very intense. They're all pretty similar in hue, I would say, except for the Permanent Red Deep by Mission Gold. It's a little bit more orangey. It's getting close. It's definitely leaning more towards the vermilion kind of red rather than this bright, slightly cool red tone. And the MaimeriBlue, which, by the way, we had no bubbles, which is amazing because I think this is one of the few colors we've tested in this series that doesn't have the bubbling issue, so we're hey for that. But this one is a little bit more corally kind of red, only very slightly, and I would say that if you didn't have all the other colors right next to this one, you wouldn't notice. But one of the things I also noticed with the MaimeriBlue is that it was definitely of a thinner texture, thinner mix than the rest of the colors. And you can see that from the swatching, that you can see the paper coming through a lot more. The one that was a real pleasure to actually get down on the paint was the Daniel Smith one. It went down really smooth. Some paints just go down really smoothly. It wants to be on that paper, and that was definitely the experience. But on the whole, didn't have any issues with any of the brands. I didn't have any re-wet issues, and most of them went down fine. No gumminess on any of the other brands. I would say if I have to pick the one that went down the smoothest, as in the one that settled and dried the smoothest, it will be the Schmincke one. It's very matte, very even, except for that bit where there was a little bit more water than round here, but that's okay. So if you want the flattest look, the most even look, I would say go for the Schmincke one. I had high hopes for the Holbein one because it went down really smooth and even, but it did dry a little bit uneven. So just by going off the mass tone, I would say that the Daniel Smith one went down nice, but didn't dry quite as smoothly, whereas Schmincke one, perfect. Let's take a look at the prices. Prices are as we come to expect. Mission Gold is the cheapest, and then the Core is the most expensive. And really, just looking at the mass tone, it's like, yes, this one does feel a little bit cheaper. It's not as luminescent and it's not as glowy as all the other ones. And as I said, it's more of a vermilion than this bright, cool red colors. Pyrrole Red Medium by QoR is the most expensive, and I probably wouldn't notice that in quality just from looking at this mass tone, but we'll see how these colors compare in other tests. And next we have the opacity test, and it's very noticeable that Sennelier is very, very opaque, which I was kind of surprised because I always thought Pyrrole was quite transparent, but no, they're not. They are quite opaque, especially the Sennelier. The Winsor, Newton and the Roman Szmal, I would say, are the next most opaque. QoR is also quite opaque, but very even in its opaqueness, which is a contrast to the Sennelier, Winsor, Newton and the Roman Szmal one. The most transparent out of these colors are the Holbein and the MaimeriBlue, and I would say, going by the mass tone, I can see how this has more of the white showing through, and as well as this one is showing through the white. So there is quite a variance in the opacity, so you could pick between the brands for Pyrrole Red depending on how opaque or how transparent you would like your paint to be. And then finally for this video we have the lift and the glaze, and Pyrrole Reds are always going to be very heavily staining. Once you get that paint on the paper, you're not going to get it off, but there are some variants. I would say that the Schmincke and the Mission Gold and probably the quartz, I mean most of them are very heavily staining, so it's probably easier to point out the ones that are less staining. Da Vinci is definitely less staining than some of the other brands. I would say Da Vinci and Winsor Newton are the least staining and the easier to lift of all the colors. I also want to just point out at this point on this swatch, the Mission Gold's color is noticeably a different color from all the other ones. So if you want that bright, intense, kind of passionate, cool red, then you might be disappointed with the Mission Gold. I certainly will be disappointed if this is what came out the tube. I'll be like, that's not really Pyrrole Red or PR254. In terms of glazing, they're okay as glazes, I would say. Because of the opacity, it's quite difficult to see the layer underneath, but because of its staining values, they don't lift up as easily. So if you do thin glazes of this color, I think it will be fantastic, especially for the ones that, like Daniel Smith, we've got a good layer going here, but maybe not with the QoR and maybe not with the Winsor Newton and Sennelier. I can see lifting quite a lot in these three brands. If you are interested in trying out these Pyrrole Reds for yourself, then you're in luck, because this month's dot card is the companion dot card to this episode, and you get 8 Pyrrole Reds on this dot card. You get the Daniel Smith, the Holbein, Sennelier, Schmincke, Winsor Newton, QoR, Mission Gold and Da Vinci, so that you can do your own test and try painting with them on your favorite paper or sketchbook and mix it with your favorite colors to see if it works with what you already use before you have to commit to buying a whole tube. So this is a great economical way to get to test 8 different brands. So if you'd like this to show up on your doorstep, then all you have to do is go over onto patreon.com/Oto Kano, as you can see there, and then sign up to the appropriate tiers, and then this dot card will be going to you very soon. So that's it for this video, but in the next video, which by the way is the last video in this season of Colossal Color Showdown, can you believe we made it to, well, this is episode 19. We will carry on taking a look at the gradation, how they react to salt, as well as how they mix with other colors. I hope this video was useful to you. If it was, then please click the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And also, if this video has piqued your interest in any of these colors, I have the links or where you can get them from Jackson's, Blick and Amazon US. Please use those links if you can, because it's a great way to financially support this channel without it costing you a single penny, which is totally awesome. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!